I know I'm late to the party, but today we're looking at the Goat Boat. I reviewed Thor's hammer a while ago and did some awesome mods to it, making that one of my favourite Marvel sets so far, so this got my hopes up for wanting more Thor Love and Thunder sets, and with that trailer already out, let's just say I'm hyped for June to go and see this film. But how well has LEGO done 2 months before the film's release? Is it worth buying the most expensive Thor Love and Thunder set now? Well, let's take a look. As like I do with all of my reviews, I want to start by looking at the minifig selection. Marvel don't really have a great track record when it comes to minifigures, it's usually a mixed bag. But I'm happy to say with this £45 set, you get a decent selection of minifigures. But not only that, 4 out of 5 of them have leg printing! Something you don't usually see across a Marvel set. But let's start off with the main man himself. Thor is depicted in this really nice blue colour, which if the toy leaks are correct as well as the box art, looks to be pretty accurate. I know there are certain toys out there that have full blue arms and a gold helmet, but I believe that to be a different suit, or at least a variant of this one. The main torso colour is obviously blue, but it has this really nice metallic silver and gold detailing throughout the figure, and dare I say, might be the most detailed Thor figure we've ever had, especially going into those legs, using this really nice black and gold printing to indicate the armour, as well as toe printing. I've noticed a lot of figures having toe printing lately. I don't know if it's just been made easier in the LEGO factories, maybe they've got a new set of pads or something along those lines, but I've noticed toe printing being a lot more common now, which is a definite plus in my opinion. Unfortunately, there is no side leg printing or arm printing, but if I'm honest, that's fairly standard for a Marvel set. And another thing to slightly complain about is the reused face print from the Fat Thor sets. I'm going to say here what I said in my previous Thor review, I don't particularly think this face print works for a thinner version of Thor, and much prefer some of the original Ragnarok, or even dare I say 2012 versions of the Thor face. But that is just my opinion, you might love this face print. And I also really like the fact that they've done this new Qui-Gon Jinn hairpiece in a dark tan. It's great to see this hairpiece be reused for a character like Thor, and I think it looks really nice comparing it to the promotional material. And for anybody who's wondering, all the capes in this set are the spongy variants, with the single hole at the top of the cape to attach to the minifig. Moving on to Jane Foster, or She-Thor, I don't really know what she's going to be called in the film. Again, another fantastic minifigure, with that base torso being moulded in a black with nice silver and gunmetal grey printing on the top of the torso to really show that detail. Toward the lower of the torso, you see a slight bit of brown coming in to indicate that they're moving to the legs. Another Marvel figure getting leg printing. Although it might be a little bit more basic than Thor's, it's still a really nice set of legs, and printing I could see coming in handy for other figures in the future. Again, can't forget about that toe printing which is present on this figure, but like all the other figures in this set, again no side leg or arm printing. Let's talk about that face print just before we talk about that glorious helmet. I think this is a fairly standard face print, I've seen this used on multiple other figures before, and I think it's relatively unfortunate that they haven't reused the really nice Padme face print from the gunship. I know they used this one on the pod racer, but if I'm honest, I just think that other face print worked much better. But it's okay, because we can cover this face print up with this really glorious helmet. I'm so glad LEGO actually decided to include this helmet, as hopefully that's what she wears throughout most of this film. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, that is a print on the top of the helmet, and not only that, this helmet is dual molded. It has hair coming out of the back, and the best thing about this helmet, if you ask me, is it still allows the head to turn. Sometimes when LEGO make a brand new helmet piece, or hell, just a regular long hairpiece, they forget that sometimes it's better if that hairpiece has a bit of clearance at the back so you allow it to turn. Granted, not far, you're not going to be able to do a full Exorcist twist with this headpiece, but it's easily enough range of motion to get some good poses out of the figure. She does come with her own version of Thor's hammer. Now unfortunately, it would have been really nice if LEGO had printed on the hammer a nice cracked pattern, considering the hammer was destroyed and rebuilt, or even just included some form of sticker that you could put on the hammer if you wanted it cracked or not. They have printed on these hammer pieces before, but maybe I'm just asking too much. As for Valkyrie, again, she is present with leg printing and toe printing, similar to the other two characters, which is very good. Apparently in this universe, no one has ever heard of sleeves, as her arms are the same color as her flesh tone. Again, I think this is a reuse of a face print, and we get the brand new Makari hair as her hairpiece. Like I said before, this cape is one of the spongy variants, however, this one comes in a nice blue color, and although I'm pretty sure one of these swords is meant to be spare, I've given given her some dual daggers because that just looks cool. Moving on to Korg, and again, it's another great figure. He is different to the one that you find in the Bro Thor's hut, and different to the one you see in the accessory pack. He of course carries over the same headpiece that he had before, except this time he's got a vulture neck piece, which is the only way I really know best to describe it, around his neck, and then moving into his torso printing, we've got some nice dark brown belts going across his torso, moving into the legs. Again, really nice transition between the torso and the legs. This figure is one of the ones to not include toe printing for some reason, but if I'm honest, is a really cool figure to add to my collection, and he does come with this club thing, which I don't actually know what it is. And moving on to the most boring figure out of them all, this is Gore. I don't really know much about him, and he's got a mummy torso, and he's grey. Moving on! The set itself is actually really nice. One thing I'm happy to say that they haven't done with this set is include giant molded parts, a problem that you'd normally see with larger LEGO boats. This dual-headed setup at the front was unfortunately very repetitive to build, but if I'm honest, looks really cool. Between these two heads you can see Stormbreaker. I don't know if that's just a clever storage solution or whether that actually functions in the film. Moving along the sides of the boat, you can see we've got a nice sticker here that says Asgard THORS, and then continuing to the side of the boat you can see we have these shields, which are unfortunately depicted as stickers. Now, as you guys would know, I don't usually mind stickers in these types of builds, but if I'm honest, these would have been really nice as prints, as I believe they could have been very versatile in other sets, and it's also really nice to just get some decent shield prints. But hey, unfortunately in this instance, they are stickers. And moving to the back of the boat where you can see some similar designs to the front. Now, there's not really many play features in this set, but you can open the little house inside, where you can see a gold staff, a beer bottle, a stickered detail of a map of Asgard, and for some reason, I hope this is a joke, but the classic Marvel fire extinguisher. Now let's talk about the very controversial thing to do with this set, and that's the goats. These are the goats, and unfortunately this aspect of them have put a lot of people off of this set, mainly because the goats are brick built even though they have a wonderful mold of a goat ready to use from a previous set. I don't believe asking for this old goat mold would have been too much to ask for, and yes, it would have got rid of some of the piece count for this set, but I think it would have been worth it. These goats, even though they are a very good brick built representation of a goat, are just not as good as using the dedicated mold. These goats consist of about 30 pieces each, and also consist of the only 2 printed bricks in this entire set, being the faces. They also have a gigantic hole through their torso, so you can attach them to the set. Like I say, these goats are nice, but I still think it would have been way better to use the dedicated mold. Positioning the figures on the set, I think this is a relatively balanced set between build and minifigures. However, I will say that the minifigures are a very big draw to buying this set, but if you do consider that you can get 3 of these minifigures in a £20 set, is the build and the other figures included worth that extra £20? If I'm honest, I'd say this build is definitely better than the other one, and it's definitely going to be more substantial if you're looking at buying this yourself, and given Marvel's track record recently, 45 quid for this many figures and a fairly decent build is pretty good in my opinion. I'd definitely say for the price it's worth it, and obviously once the film comes out I think there'll be a bit more hype around this set, but if you can find it on sale, that's definitely a plus. I think it's a good mix between a display and a playset, and if you're into Thor, it's one to pick up. Speaking if you're into Thor, if you're thinking about buying the hammer or you've already got the hammer, you should definitely check out my mods video that really improves the look of that set. We change the handle and add the engravings using brick built detail, but I'll see you over there for the rest of that video.